can watch a video on the at the site. I really want to check this guy out. I like this guy. I like this guy. Let's go. How to play HOI4 better. I think it's just going to play the roleplay, which I already do, but let's take a look. A better way to play HOI4.
If you spent any time online watching videos or streams of Hearts of Iron 4, you might have noticed that the focus often tends to be around ways to exploit the game, or hunting achievements, or multiplayer matches where...
And that's why I also think I never liked exploiting. I never liked exploiting stuff. To me, and I think a lot of people in chat agree with me, you take an army, you name it. You make cool headquarters. You name your ships. And you just enjoy, man. I think that's the way you should approach any Paradox game. Like, look at Stellaris, right? I play slow and name everything. That is how the true joy in Paradox comes out.
Meta is
roleplay.
I know when I was learning to play HOI4, all of this was really overwhelming, and it tended to suck the fun right out of playing. I was always worried if what I was doing was optimal, instead of just enjoying myself. Especially for a game like this, which is pretty much just an open sandbox where you can do whatever you want. It can be easy to fall into the habit of these common playstyles, and there's nothing at all wrong with that. A lot of people love finding exploits and crazy optimization.
Calm. You can. I learned that recently. Just go to speed 1 and 2, and you're gonna be fine, bro. Go speed 1, speed 2, and you're fine.
To do more and more outrageous things, and entire channels are built off this idea. I enjoy it too, and my mind is blown when I watch a speedrunning video at the creativity and depth of knowledge which goes into creating these strats. What I would like to do today though is talk about another way of playing. One which I feel can be equally or even more fun than the others mentioned previously. Role-playing. Role-playing can be a bit of a dirty word in the
what I've been saying for a long time.
Associated with long multiplayer games, with over-controlling moderators who prevent you from doing anything even remotely creative. That's not what I'm talking about today.
I'm going to be very arrogant for a sec. Yes, I'm very proud that I invented HOI4 roleplay. I'm proud of that. I invented that shit, and you cannot fucking even doubt that. I fucking did that shit years ago with Tomatoes. What I'm talking about
is a relaxed single-player experience, where you put yourself in the shoes of the leader of a nation at the time, acting in a realistic way that you think they would have, or playing out your own little narrative that you want to experience in the game. Your decisions are made based on what you think your leader would do, not what you as a player would do to win a game.
What your leader will do?
This type of roleplay does require...
But then Tommy destroyed it by inventing mercenaries. That was a very... that was a revolution, right? When I did the Australia mercenary game, but now I killed HOI4, yeah.
That you try not to metagame as much as possible. Meaning that you, the player, knows on a historical mode, World War II will start around the end of 1939. But Jigme Wangchuk of Bhutan would not. So, while making decisions in the game, you should consider what your leader would actually be focusing on. For example, when playing
as Brazil, idea how your leader will
instead of building infrastructure only in states where resources are, you might decide that it would be more realistic for you to try and connect the coastal parts of your nation to the internal areas of the Amazon and build up railway and
I don't know about that one.
Your version of Star...
Okay, that's... Okay, I wouldn't do that.
Might decide that the boss
I feel like just do what you want. Just have fun.
In the hands of a foreign power.
And I think what makes HOI4 single player very fun is to think in operations. You don't just declare one someone, you prepare it. I'm gonna parrot drop there, and then there's an elevation here, the main attack comes from here. And don't forget the air support, yeah? And you prepare.
Fabricate a justification to invade Turkey and take control.
Like in real life.
Seizing the strait and leaving Turkey ruled by a friendly communist puppet government. To me, this is a more immersive and free way of playing the game. You can create unique storylines in your head to follow along with, making divisions in line with what your country did historically, following along with their stories, or
I'm going to build level 5 forts in Poland, but they will represent concentration camps. It's gotta be great.
When the war does come along, you're
but
now
I can't play for long because I have to mod my HOI4 Discord channel.
Might be ill-prepared to resist the spread of fascism, or maybe as a government who's forced to join the expansionist powers for their own self-preservation. You can also flip it and play the opposite way. Take control of a nation who was actually not prepared at the start of the war, and imagine that you had invested heavily into your armed forces, leaving you more ready than you would have otherwise been. For new players, this can be a much more relaxing and lower stress way of playing. You don't have to worry about how
and a tip I will add is just play slower. Go speed 2 there. You see, lately on my stream, I play much slower, so my wars are much more detailed. I'm much more cleaner in my wars with encirclements and pushes.
War industry, what achievements
I'm really falling in love lately with speed 1 and 2.
Because you're intentionally playing adverse to this method for the story. For more experienced players, this can also be enjoyable, as it adds difficulty. Think about it like you're kind of giving yourself a disaster save of your own creation. And now you need to work out a way to still come out on top with a suboptimal build. Talked a lot about historical.
Every Paradox game is better if you play slow, but it sucks with ADHD.
By playing on non-historical. For one, it really eliminates any subconscious metagaming that you might be doing. For anyone who's played tabletop games like D&D, you know it can be really challenging to put yourself in your character's shoes and not consider things like failing a persuasion check.
Skyrim is back on Sunday, chat. I'm so excited.
Anything out of the ordinary, but
the speedrun Black Eyes Bob was so fun. I had on this channel. Yeah, that was sick. I want to do that more often. But then I died to this bullshit, man.
Making your character behave in a normal way is hard because you're invested in them. And usually you wouldn't want to make them spring the trap.
Promo code or just a link? Just a link. No promo code, unfortunately. Sorry, man.
The same thing applies in a historical game. Playing as if you're oblivious to the looming war is difficult because you don't want to be a weaker nation when it starts. Most of us...
I like his standpoint. I see it differently, though. I see it more like I will more urge people to roleplay, to name their divisions, to make a Marine Corps, but also an airdrop corps and a cool navy.
Like the feeling of power, which comes with being able to easily win your wars thanks to your
is coming out Sunday. But if it's coming in the evening, we're kind of fucked.
Non-historical
Can someone figure out the time?
Removes that variable, where
Probably
you
not
actually have no idea what will happen in the game, so your decisions can be made without that bias. It also adds a lot more room for your in-game narratives to be truly creative through the randomness and unpredictability of the game setting. You're forced to take a more internal view of your game.
The problem I force for a lot of nations, nothing happens for 2 hours. So often you want to speed it up. Yeah. But I have a thing that if I go speed 4, I don't go down anymore.
Might be able to rely on the usual allies for each
it's early game. Let's go speed 4, but then it's hard for me to slow again.
Alliances depending on how your game plays out. For me, this leads to
Andor
really
Star Wars.
interesting storylines and, in my opinion, super fun games. I've recently had a communist revolution overthrow the US government, which then joined a Trotsky-led USSR to form a global communist superpower.
What I like about HOI4 is how so many people play it so differently.
As the new Napoleonic
That's why I think HOI4 is so successful.
Clearly a concern.
So many different ways.
Kind of central
Everyone plays different.
Too, with some smaller European nations to try and stop them. We lost, but it was a really fun game.
Check it out.
The other thing that you can also do to enhance this experience is to use console commands. This is especially helpful to create unique
Would you enjoy disaster saves? No.
At the game start.
I have a thing, if you might know, I did since day one of my streams. I always needed to be my thing. For example, I hate playing Scotland in the UK because you have to release it first. I want my thing. I don't want anyone else's thing. I hate starting games in 39. I hate NC because you're starting in 1945 or some shit. I'm a guy, I want the beginning to the end be mine. I'm a guy, man, you could never gift me a World of Warcraft character. Hey, Tommy, I'm gifting you my level 60 character. It has the best gear. No, I want to start on level 1. I want every second of that build, that country, that character to be my experience.
For example,
which is why I don't like
New Zealand was actually the 7th state of Australia, like they should be, how would that play out? Or what if between the First and Second World Wars, Poland adopted the mother of all turtle strats with max level forts, airports, radar, AA, everything all over the nation? This allows you to add a bit more creativity to your games, and you can use it as you go to fit your narrative that you're telling as well. It honestly doesn't matter.
And I also think a big part of role-playing your nation is a good focus tree. When I was playing Germany 2 days ago, it was so fun because of the roleplay with the war focuses. But then we look at the USA game I had right now, which has a terrible focus tree that doesn't enable any more roleplay. It doesn't have, you know, this is good roleplay. Let me show you. Like, this is good roleplay. All this cool war shit. It's so fun. But then this doesn't enable good roleplay, right? You have nothing going on. This a little bit. A good focus tree enables good roleplay, which is why Kaiserreich is so beautiful.
And enjoying yourself. And that's really the main point that I'm getting to here. At the end of the day, Hearthstone 4 is a game, and you should play.
That's why EU5 will suck at the start, no missions and no flavor. Yeah, that's why I don't think much about EU5.
If that's playing the game because it's super challenging and you get a kick out of overcoming all odds with perfectly optimized builds and exploits, then that's awesome. If it's more fun for you to tell a story through the game, coming up with your own little scenarios, just like when you were a kid having your Lego soldiers go through the most intense wars all in your head, then you should 100% do that, and tell me all about it in the comments.
Another Jedi Academy game, man. That will be it. And now he has a even more interesting video, how to make you better at HOI4. I'm very interested in what he has to say there. How to get better at HOI4. Maybe I need to check that out, huh?
First tip I got for you guys is you need to prioritize.
Yeah, and that's something we already talked about. I believe my USA was so strong here because it didn't do tanks. I had really good Navy, insane Marines, great air. I think if I went tanks, that's too much. Many people go into everything. It happened to me in Pixel, and then we have nothing because we did too much.
and specifically prioritize what's important and urgent. Picture this, you're in 1937, 1936, you got your first 150 political power, and you're choosing what advisor to get. You're tossing up between, say, the mobile warfare expert and your silent workhorse or your industrial concern or something like that. Out of these, which is most likely to provide you benefit here and now?
Army advisor. So yeah, this is kind of a concept we already started doing 8 years ago in the multiplayer scene, right? Just prioritize good decision making,
it's
right?
Going to be either your son.
But I think what I like to add with prioritization is really, if you play USA, prioritize a thing. Don't do everything. Don't do tanks, air, paratroopers, marines. You're gonna be in trouble.
Workhorse or the designer or something that's going to give you benefits that you're going to use.
By force a game, you always have a clock on your head, right? If you play Hitler, at some point you need to attack somebody or you will get attacked. There's a timer.
You're not going to be at war realistically until 1938-39. So going for the mobile warfare expert, which is something that's not going to provide that benefit till way later, is a bad investment at this point in the game. So you need to prioritize what's important and urgent for you now, which early on in the game is the silent workhorse to allow you to get more advisors, or your industrial concern to help your research speed for whatever particular tech that you want to go for. This extends to so many things as well. Like early on, you're better off going for your industrial or your electronics techs rather than sitting there and building up or, you know, rushing naval techs, or even to a point like your artillery.
People are still bad at the game.
Focus on your other early techs, which are going to help you in the here and now and help you snowball into a stronger nation later on. It's just going to maximize the benefit that you're getting out of your political power, out of your research slots, even your focuses, for example. You want to be going for the ones which are going to help you sooner rather than later. Tip number 2 is a handy little trick when you're cloning divisions, or just actually cloning them if you don't know what that is.
Yeah, man. We're just clones, sir. We're meant to be expendable.
Not to me.
So if you want a similar division design to one that you already have, say for example, you want to take this one and add some artillery in it, but make a new division rather than changing all of our existing divisions, you can go to this button at the bottom of the designer and click duplicate. And what this is going to do is it's going to create a carbon copy of that previous template for you to now go ahead and make your changes however you want. It's also going to carry over all of these battalions. Another best practice tip here to stop you from accidentally updating the existing template that all of your divisions in the field are and then ruining your supply. When you click the duplicate button and it comes up with a copy of infantry division, just go ahead and rename that. So we'll just call it new division, and then give it a different icon as well, and then click update. Then close the template down completely and you'll see the new template down the bottom here. Then you can rest assured that you're going to go ahead, open this one up, make sure it is this one, and then you're able to go ahead and update this, make any changes, and it's not going to ruin your supply.
I just wonder, I'm not trying to be like, oh, you guys stop.
Tip number 3 is how to stop your designs being reset in the middle of making them. Now, I'm sure that we've all been here before where you're making a tank design,
now that you update, you can even save a design for new
design, ship design, division, whatever, and then a country has pieced out, or there's some notification that pops up and it just clears the design, it just closes it. That has happened to me more times than I can count. And look, to be fair, I can't count that high, but you know, still. Luckily for you, there's an easy fix. You're in the game, these things are popping up, you're trying to make a design, just simply hit pause. Just press the space bar, click on the timestamp in the top right, just stop the game, quickly make your design, do whatever changes you want to do, and then just click save. And then you can go ahead and start the game.
Sometimes I think if I would like to be successful on YouTube again, I should make videos like this. Hey guys, I'm TommyKay, and today I'm going to give you 10 tips of deep meta on HOI4 I learned in 8 years. Stuff like this is going really well, right? But I'm always too lazy to do that, bro. But that will be a video that will make a lot of sense.
Down that much, and it's better than getting frustrated by having your design cleared every time. It's just the easiest way. Now, if you're in multiplayer, please don't do that because your friends will be very mad. So instead, what you want to do when you open up the design, add on a couple of things, and then go ahead and click save. And then go ahead and open the design up again, add on a couple of other modules, click save. And just keep doing that until you've completed your design. It does take a bit more clicking.
It would be a cool thing in the future one day, like TommyKay tutorials. I've never done that in 8 years.
However,
that could be a cool idea. TommyKay tank tutorial, TommyKay air tutorial. That sounds.
Remake the whole thing.
That'd be. I don't know.
Especially if you have.
Let me write that on my little board here.
And it just gets cleared out, and you've got the stats like you wanted them. It can be so frustrating. Tip number 4, one of my favorites, is when to start building your navy. I'm probably going to lose some of you navy haters out there, but honestly, I don't care. If you're going to start building a navy, you want to do it as soon as possible, especially if you're a minor nation and you're going to try and compete with the big boys out on the higher seas. Not only is there usually a large amount of research that you have to complete, especially as a smaller nation, but you also need to start your production on dockyards far earlier than other nations. You generally aren't going to start with a lot of them.
You should watch a new player and just give advice while watching them.
They're really IC intensive machines, these boats are. So make sure you plan ahead, get your research techs done early, build up some dockyards, and you'll be able to set your production on autopilot with the assistance of my Navy guides, which I'll link below for you Suki Lalas who say the Navy's too hard to play. Honestly, you just need to try a little. Tip number 5 is actually a collection.
It's a very cool, interesting path I could take as a streamer. Looking at tutorials. Like deep dive into tanks, deep dive into nations.
Small tips
interesting.
For small nations. When you're playing as a small to medium power, whether it's for an achievement or a world conquest or whatever, you are going to want to go into your tanks and your aircraft production and research early.
Navy deep dive.
Most miners are going to start with minimal techs, like look at this. So not only do you have to compete with that, you generally also have less research slots than the major powers. Also, you generally have quite low manpower, so you can't really rely on just throwing bodies at any problem that crops up. You're going to have to be smart and make the most out of your limited resources. Look into it. For me, the best way to do that is with medium tanks and close air support. You can make tanks that are honestly, look, they're cheap enough that you can make enough with your limited industry for a few divisions. And on top of that, they're generally going to be better than anything that the AI will make. Just put a bit of decent armor on there, something with a lot of soft attack too. So you're looking at like the medium howitzer, small cannon, that sort of thing. And honestly, just in the interest of making this
I don't prepare content like this. I do everything live.
Around 6K
so tutorials are
that's more than enough for a medium tank, especially early on. Later on, you can upgrade them, get it up to at least 8 kilometers, and that will be fine. And then if we look at our close air support, just something straightforward, relatively cheap. You've got 2 bomb locks on here to give you not a terrible amount of soft attack or ground attack, sorry. This is just going to help you with those early battles, especially in bad terrains. If you're a bit of a sicko, you want to go for something a bit more like an all-rounder, attack bomber, go for your bomb locks, armor-piercing bomb locks, and light torpedo mountings. That'll get you not only a decent amount of ground attack, but also a little bit of strat bombing and some naval strike capability
to beat Italy.
Finally, if you do want to build some fighters to help you get a bit of air supremacy, look, just know that they are going to get shot down later on. But if you do want this to help you out in the early game, just chuck a couple of light MGs on there, try to get the armor up a little bit, and honestly, whatever you make should be better than the AI. If you put all this together, a bit of a decent air force, you've got some fighters, CAS, some of those tanks, you find that you can push a lot easier, especially through any bad terrains or dug-in enemy entrenchment as well. Tip number 6, it may not feel like it, but achievements are your friends. If you've been sitting around a little bit unsure of what to do in your playthroughs, you can just jump onto the Steam page for HOI4 and have a look at some of the achievements you can get in the game. There is a pretty big community of people that just go out and try to get as many as they can, and you can make it a bit of a challenge between you and your friends.
TommyKay does deep dives about amateur
I do that with my friends, and they are kicking my ass. When you click on View My Achievements, it will show you what you've currently got and when. You can also compare with your friends with what they have.
This guy always says friends.
And
why does he have to attack us like this?
Of what to do next, you can click on the Global Achievements button, and this is going to sort all the achievements by percentage of who has, I guess, what percentage of players
take France and Poland before everyone
essentially
the most played achievements
from easiest to most difficult. So as you scroll down, you'll see ones that you haven't completed, and you can go and have a bit of a crack at them. Why not try it out? Maybe even have a look at some YouTubers that have some guides on certain achievements. Below, just go click below, please. Come on. Tip number 7 is to exploit the AI. One of my favorite spots is here between Greece and Turkey, and this is courtesy of Feedback Gaming. You can essentially just go ahead and
obviously Feedback is mentioned with exploits
all the way to Istanbul, north and south, provided we actually take this. Look, sometimes they escape, but essentially you can just go north and south, giving yourself a nice little encirclement here. Once you've gone ahead and destroyed some of their troops, you can go ahead and pull your soldiers back.
I hate doing that,
essentially, just rinse and repeat all the way through. Just taking out all their soldiers until Turkey has gobbled their last gobble. Tip number 8 is to attack and defend with your spies.
Yeah, people never use spies enough. Spies are so important. They lower the entrenchment of enemies so important.
A lot of people overlook is their ability to completely negate an enemy's planning bonus, as well as reducing enemy entrenchment by 5, which, to be honest, is going to be most of it with a lot of the countries you'll fight in single player. When you reach 100% network or 100% network strength rather, in a state, you can go ahead and just hover over the region when you're in the spy map mode, and it will
take their planning,
pop up the effects
max planning
on
away.
your...
Minus 64% max planning. That's so insane.
So you can see here, we are
especially if your enemy is
planning factor by 100% and their entrenchment by 5. If we are holding a particular front line, this is a really strong way to give yourself a bit of extra chance, because the planning factor bonus can be up to a 40% attack bonus for the enemy. So taking that away, it's going to really help you out on the defensive end. Even alternatively, if you are going to go on the attack and you're wanting to reduce the enemy entrenchment for your own attacking troops, it can be, again, a really good way to take it away from the defensive troops and push through a lot easier, get those breakthroughs.
We're so close.
One thing to be mindful of is the spies do have a limited range to the states surrounding where you place them. So put them too far away. For example, over here, there's no intel network, so you're not going to get those bonuses. The further away you are, the weaker that network's going to be, and the less bonuses you're also going to get. Just remember that as your spies attack and you take the particular areas where they're stationed, they are going to be removed. So don't forget to redeploy them as you're advancing.
Imagine you take 60% planning bonus away from an enemy in multiplayer.
Be territory to keep those bonuses and their network strength up. And look, to be honest, this won't work in every case, but when it does, it can really frustrate an enemy's advance or help you push through a lot easier. Tip number 9 is target enemy supply hubs. Sun Tzu once said, "Bring war material with you from home, but forage from the enemy." And you know what? I think he had a point.
How does every HOI4 player have a Sun Tzu book next to him,
Supply hubs and ports are costly to build, and they take production away from mills or sieves or whatever else it is.
Like I always say, supply is everything.
Actually,
take enemy supply ups, nothing matters anymore.
The benefit from seizing them from the enemy is twofold. Firstly, it'll provide you a new free supply hub for you to connect up to your network, giving your own current troops the supply that they previously lacked. It'll also reduce these pesky supply penalties, which is going to make your troops just more effective. Simple as that. Secondly, it's going to starve enemy divisions of supply, hence giving them those same penalties that you were trying to avoid for your troops, making it easier for you to push. You can even target enemy railways, because if you can cut off the rail link to an enemy supply hub, you're halfway to capturing it. As now it's essentially just an empty warehouse for the enemy to
I will think after all these years of HOI4, the biggest change to the game was supply hubs.
Oh, well, there we go.
It changes how you have to move.
You can use F4 to see your own and enemy
etc.
supply rail networks. And just remember, a port is going to do the exact same thing as a supply hub just along the coast. And it's way cheaper. Oh my god, it's a quarter of the price. Yeah. Wow. Tip number
People always forget that if you're on a coastal line, a level 1 port is a supply hub.
10 is to use continuous focuses. I'm going to take a stab in the dark here and say that a lot of people may not even know about these, but in your focus tree in the bottom left-hand corner,
I mean, in vanilla, you never even finish your focus trees, right?
Regardless of which nation you're playing, you're going to have these continuous focuses, which will provide constant buffs to your nation. Just having a quick run through them, the naval production increases your dockyard output by 20%, air production makes everything 10% cheaper, effectively increasing their output by 10%. Construction engineering provides a 10 to 20% boost to pretty much everything except for your state, your main state buildings, so your sieves, mills, dockyards, and refineries.
I'm now ultra motivated. Shout out to him for motivating me to do TommyKay deep dives in HOI4 too. Like, we take a nation and just for hours we talk about the nation, we look at all aspects, we play the nation.
Army training is useless but reduces your training time by 25%.
Sounds fun.
Resistance suppression can be quite handy. It reduces resistance by 5% across the board.
Really fun.
So it can go a long way to helping you out if you're having issues with that. Poland and Germany. It's well worth keeping these in mind when you're struggling to win the air war, for example, or if Poland's about to revolt for the millionth time. Especially the air production in some multiplayer games, it can be really good to help you get a bit of a leg up. And that's pretty much it for the video, except I'm bringing back the bonus tips, and today's is thus. Don't sleep on paratroopers, especially in single player. They can be incredibly
single player.
Effective. Look at the size of this encirclement I've got in here on my
I also believe paratroopers are the most underused thing in this game.
The other day. I've been using them more and more.
Especially if it's banned in multiplayer. They have a buff, right? If you land on a unit, that unit loses 50% orc, which is utterly broken.
I'm really enjoying that. I've managed to capitulate a few nations almost instantly by using paratroopers. For example,
if you do paratroopers well, you win.
Or France when you're playing as Germany. And look at this, gaining huge encirclements like this, combining them with your tank divisions, taking out supply hubs, leaving enemies stranded, having huge like breakouts for my troops and making massive pockets. And also, if you think you've got something,
check out this guy. I like this guy. He's cool. Give him a little sub, guys. GG. Darn tootin', partner. You're still here? If you fancy more of this beautiful face, check out these videos. And subscribe.